Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of all types, we are Slam Sector, and we are bringing to you a new format that we call the 5x5 podcast. Now, the reason why it's called 5x5 is because in the pipe 5x5 is a little too long, and I'm a complete sucker for the Alien franchise, and that just, that sounds really cool. It also means loud and clear, right? When you're talking on the radio, 5 clarity rating, 5 loudness rating. Anyway, it just fit, right? And we've teased a little bit about this in some of the bat reps, but this is a new format that we're trying out where basically we're dipping our toes into the podcast space, and I'm really excited about it. And our kind of like our maiden voyage of an episode is one that everyone loves doing, right? In between games, during games, just drinks with the boys. When you're just talking about Warhammer, you always want to think about that wish list thing, where you're like, if I had my designer gloves on, what would I want Warhammer to do? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And the guest for today's podcast is none other than the founder, the bedrock, the foundation of Slam Sector. That would be my boy Boomstick. Go ahead and say hi.
Hey, what's up? I'm really glad we're finally getting this going.
Oh hell yeah, man! It is. We've been talking about this a long time. I'm very glad we're getting this going, and we hope that you, listener, are enjoying this while maybe you're painting a model, stuck in traffic, maybe out on that Sigma grind set or whatever that the Rock did a music video on.
Maybe painting models in traffic.
Yeah, dude, hell yeah. Just, that would be the coolest ticket that anyone ever got. Subject was painting an ultramarine while stuck on 285 and would not go on the green.
Do you know why I pulled you over?
Because my edge highlighting game is dope. That's why. Oh, that'd be amazing. But yeah. So, let's go ahead and kick it off. So, the way that I got this formatted is I asked my boy Boomstick to come up with 3 wish list items ranking in spiciness, mild, medium, and wild, and then 1 prediction. And I got the same going. And what we're going to do is we're going to isolate each one of these going back and forth and just kind of think about what the game would be with that rule in effect and just kind of be like, oh, that would do this. Here's where my head went with that. Here's where my head went with this opponent, and all that kind of fun stuff. So, we'll ramp it up in intensity. So we'll start with the mild. Boomstick, what do you have for your mild wish list for 10th edition?
My kind of mild wish list is really just I want to see some more player interaction kind of stuff.
Okay.
So Horus Heresy is doing the reactions. Basically something that you can do when your opponent, in your opponent's turn, so you're not just sitting there rolling saves for the entire turn.
Totally. Yeah.
Maybe even similar to the way Age of Sigmar does their pseudo alternating activations, or Kill Team does alternating activations. Just something like that. I just don't want it to be super boring if you're playing against somebody and they are playing a horde army and it's just taking a really long time.
Yeah, dude, that's a good point. And so I've heard, and I've played just a dibble dabble of Age of Sigmar, and it's refreshing because there's no point where you can be like, all right, this is gonna take a second. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a beer and hit the head. You're always in it. You're always like, okay, wait, hold on. I need to actually key in here. We currently have that in the form of Deny the Witch. That's the one reaction that's kind of always been in the game. I just realized.
Yeah, that's I guess a very mild, because that's almost you're basically just rolling a save against psychic.
True.
It doesn't really take a whole lot of strategy or thinking besides just, oh, I don't want that specific spell to go off.
Yeah.
It's not it's definitely something. It's not nothing.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they could take it a step further with the Horus Heresy reactions.
For sure.
I think is a great example.
Yeah. Would you want them to be closer to like a copy and paste in there, or do you want them to like be more elaborate, or do you want it to be like streamlined, kind of like the what do you call it? Deny the Witches.
I think you could probably have like a couple of generic ones. Like, here's some things that you can do on your opponent's turn. Like if an opponent shoots you, you have the option to like shoot back with 1 unit or something like that.
Totally, yeah.
I don't know, maybe that would become busted, but like that's just an example.
Yeah.
But then like maybe every faction has one reaction that they can only do. Because I know like Gene Stealer cults, that would be crazy for Gene Stealer cults.
Yeah.
Because you know they're all about the plans, generations in the making, stuff like that. So I just think you could make some really thematic things out of those.
Dude, absolutely. That would be just totally bonkers. The thing that's coming to mind, because I went through the Horus Heresy book like a lot when it first dropped, like the Age of Darkness book and everything, when that big box set dropped. And one of the things that blew me away was each of the legions had their own like special signature thing, right? And the only one that I really paid attention to was the Blood Angels one, because I'm a degenerate for Blood Angels. But it was like during the charge phase, you could just during your opponent's charge phase, you could just be like, hey, I want to charge too, and like once per game. It was so freaking cool, man.
Yeah, like stuff like that is just super cool to me, and I think would make 40k way more interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, fingers crossed. I think that one is likely to happen. Like, people have been clamoring for it, and you can see the design space in their other games, like we've already talked about. So, I would A, sign off on that, and B, agree with your hopes, and I think that's coming, in my opinion.
Yeah, if not 10th edition, then maybe 11th edition, but like you're saying, they're definitely toying around with it in their other game systems.
Absolutely.
So I think we could see some form of it in 10th edition, if nothing else.
Hell yeah. And I mean, like, because people are talking about how bloated the command points, or excuse me, the stratagems are. There's like 40 of them. There's space in there to offload stratagems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, spoiler alert, my next one is about that.
Oh, shit. Dropping teasers. That's what's up. All right. My mild wish list item is... And this is kind of like a running theme with me, where like I focused in on this one thing, because I was like analyzing my games and where like my friction points in the with the game in general, the system in general is preset terrain maps a la Warcry, right? I don't know if you played any Warcry with us back in the day, but one of the cool things with Warcry was you had a deck, you had like a box of terrain. It was the big ass box with like all the wooden spikes and shit on it. And you had cards, and the cards were like, hey, set up the board like this, right? And I think that terrain is one of those things that everyone kind of has a home rule, or like a home style way that they do it, or like a house rule, or like a micro meta way that they do it. And each army kind of plays a little bit differently because of the terrain, obviously. You got those like dead zones where you're just going to get completely annihilated by a psychic focused army or a shooting focused army. And then if you put too much terrain on there, it's just like the melee's hopping from obscuring to obscuring, and boom goes the dynamite when they connect. So that kind of like arbitration game is always kind of, I don't know, man. It just adds to it, because you want to keep it symmetrical, but then symmetrical can also feel kind of boring, because it's like there's no like asymmetry going on there. There's no like it's harder to like build thematic stuff into it. Like, oh, these ruins collapsed in just the mirror opposite way. I think Games Workshop coming out with like a deck of cards that just show like, put a big ass piece of thing here, put a small thing here, call this, all that kind of stuff. Would be really good.
Yeah, part of me is like, yeah, that would make the game more balanced, and you could also, I guess in theory, make some more kind of like narrative style missions with like, here's the exact story, like here's why this mission is happening, kind of thing. by setting the terrain exactly, but also like I think that kind of forces you to like buy GW terrain because you need to have it this specific way. And honestly, like I'm not a huge fan of like player placed terrain, but I think doing it the way that tournaments have been doing it, where they kind of have their own preset layouts, I think just taking those and making them official, maybe like in the match playbooks, be like, here's the terrain layouts for that you can pick from for match play, but maybe not necessarily assigning them to exact missions might be kind of a good middle ground. But I definitely think the terrain rules as a whole could use some work.
Yeah, because I mean, like each tournament, because like one of the things that I always notice when like Warhammer competitive subreddit, that Monday meta post that comes up, and you see like, oh, how good did Death Guard do this weekend? Like that kind of thing. It's interesting because you'll get into the comments and then people will be like, hey, the only reason why friggin' I'm trying to think of an obscure army right now. Oh man, what's an obscure army?
Gene Stealer cults.
Yeah, the only reason why Gene Stealer cults popped off is because the entire thing was covered in craters or something. Something bizarre like that. And it's like this tournament had bizarro land things, so it like makes an outlier, and you don't see that in kind of like the greater data of it all. So kind of unifying that and demystifying the terrain is my mild wish list, and I think I feel like it's plausible. I'm not gonna say that it's around the corner, but
I think they could do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think you kind of gotta like leave that relegated to match play,
for sure,
because match play is where it's super important. And I think if I had to guess, a majority of people that play Warhammer aren't playing in a competitive setting.
True, yeah.
And so like maybe don't have that kind of stuff for narrative play, match play, or open play, whatever, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think like they're doing the season's match play books now. So like if you include it in those new, every season, the match play book, you have your terrain layouts here.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think they could do something like that. I could see that for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know, dude. It just worked so well in Warcry. It was awesome. And the cool thing was that like if you played a shitload of missions in Warcry and you just hated that one map or like those other configurations, you just be like, screw this. And they had symbols on them for like, these are the especially balanced competitive ones. And if they had that symbol and you were playing like just a pickup game, you'd probably want to orient towards those. Or if you want to do something nutso, you could do something nutso. So it was really neat. And I feel like, they were onto something there. So I'm kind of excited about that. Anyway. Yeah, all right. So Mild's looking pretty good for both of us. I'm digging them both. I think they're totally reasonable. What you got for your medium spiciness?
The last two that I have are a little bit interchangeable, but okay. I think probably the least spicy of the two is that I really just want them to take all of the rules and make them available digitally and fix their app.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to happen in the next edition. As much as it should. People have been asking them to do that kind of thing for years. But just constantly releasing all of these print books and making me fill up my bookshelves with all of these books that will be outdated in 6 months. Like, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked to many people that would be like, yeah, if they offered some kind of subscription where I could just have these available on my phone or like on a tablet or something, I'll pay $15, $20 a month just to have all of the rules. Yeah, and I think they would make more money doing that.
Honestly, man, I completely agree. Like, if Wahapedia was just another page on Warhammer Plus, dude, I would be the happiest friggin' dog in the kennel. Like that shit would be amazing. Like the Wahapedia guy is like, he's saving the game, man. Like, it's ridiculous with these books. Like, it's
oh, I agree.
Oh my god. So I mean, I think they just need to admit that they need that guy and just I don't know, give him the Astartes treatment where it's just like, hey, come here. You know what I mean?
Well, I kind of like I definitely have my issues with Wahapedia.
Okay.
Like I just think from a layout perspective and stuff, it's incredibly bulky and like hard to navigate. But it's a step in the right direction, and nobody else is doing it to the degree that Lawfer is doing it.
Yeah.
And I agree for sure that he is maybe not saving the game, but I definitely think there's a ton of people that wouldn't be playing the game if it wasn't for Wahapedia.
For sure. And yeah, what I'm saying is just like speed of access. Like if I have to play a 3-hour
Sure.
game, and I load up that orc thing, and I'm just trying to Google or Control F search on my phone, whatever like the orc guy's doing. It's like, are you sure you can do that? Oh shit, yeah, there it is. Like that kind of thing. It's beautiful. It's really elegant. I don't think they'll ever stop selling books, and I don't want them to because honestly, the books are legit as hell. I kind of really want to buy the Tyranids Codex, and I'm not gonna play Tyranids for probably like at least 6 months, man. Like it's so far away.
Like I totally agree. Like there's definitely a lot of the books that I would always buy physical editions of, but stuff like the match play books, I don't care about having physical copy of those.
Yeah.
Like just release that digitally because that doesn't even look good on my bookshelf.
No, I agree.
I like having physical copies of codexes. I would like to be able to access them digitally also, but I for sure want physical copies still.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, that one's medium spicy, man. I don't think that's happening in the next calendar year, honestly.
Fingers crossed, but yeah, I don't think so either.
But
What do you got?
hopefully my boy Loeffler keeps it going because I am straight up addicted to Wahapedia. All right, so my medium spice is it's just a shameless wish for an army, basically. All right, so check this out. I want there to be a proper, actual, hardbound codex book for the Inquisition. Like an actual, and they've done it before, right? Like way the hell back when, people were rolling in pewter instead of plastic. It was like there was an Inquisition book, right? And it was dope as hell. And like I was thinking about this, and I was like, all right, Inquisition doesn't have a whole lot, so they would have to pad that shit out. And how could they do that, and what could they do, and everything? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, there's a weird amount of kill team stuff out right now that you aren't able to put on the 40k tabletop, right? So like the Breachers, for example, they're in Kill Team. They were in one of the Kill Team like Into the Dark, like the Into the Dark book. They were, or box set. They were the Imperial faction, and you can't play them in 40k. Just like rules is written.
Wait, can you not?
No,
I thought they had rules.
No, man, they're just a Kill Team exclusive, basically.
Weird, because there's like the Elucidian Starstriders too, the like rogue traders. They have rules, right?
So the Voidsmen at Arms do, but like
Voidsmen at Arms. That's right.
Like the actual like rogue traders,
maybe Breachers don't though.
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, if we're wrong, the comments are gonna let me know with a quickness, and I appreciate that. Always keep me honest, folks. But yeah, dude. And so I was thinking, I was like, okay, the Inquisition is so fucking cool, right? Like the Eisenhorn books, they're amazing. It's kind of like what ramped me on board and got me going in my second real pass on getting into 40k and everything. Being able to make an inquisitorial army and just kind of like make it your own with like unique agents and stuff like that, that sort of building up a posse or building up like the equivalent of a kill team, those rules could mimic the rules that we already see in place for Death Watch, right? You know how you like make your own kill team, basically? You could make your own inquisitorial agent cell, basically, right? Shit like that. And they have all sorts of goofy stuff like the Jokairos or Jokaros, whatever the cybernetic orangutans are. Like those are bonkers. There's
Smiths,
Inquisitors running around and Land Raiders. I think those are like straight up legends at this point, but like could bring it back
maybe
somehow.
They shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
So I can confirm Navy breachers do have 40k rules.
do they really? What like
Yes.
how do you bring them?
They're agents of the Imperium, so the same way you'd take an Inquisitor.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
See, like, it would be cool if you could bring an Inquisitor army that didn't have the one assassin rule, and you could just load up on assassins, and because an Inquisitor would have access to this. And I was thinking even further that, you know, so you have the three branches of the three ordos, right? So you've got, or the major ones, right? You've got Xenos, Malleus, and Hereticus, I believe. Xenos, if you're Inquisitor, obviously your Inquisitor is like what the entire army's based around, basically. So you would need to like have some kind of glow up for that dude or girl, and they would, if they were Xenos aligned, you could straight up bring a unit or two of Death Watch, right? Because they're Xenos. Likewise, Grey Knights, I believe they're Malleus. Is that right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're Malleus.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one's which.
One of them like slapping demons around, and like that's the one that would bring Grey Knights, because Grey Knights are like,
Malleus is demons.
All right, yeah. And then Hereticus, I don't know what they would bring, but maybe like Imperial Guard, because multiple books have like,
sisters.
Oh shit, that would be good. Yeah, dude, sisters. And then all three of them could just like borrow a guard unit or two,
Yeah, that would be really cool. Like you were saying, building the kill teams, like instead of being able to maybe bring like just straight up a unit of Grey Knights, being able to like bring like, oh, this unit is like one Grey Knight Paladin and one Grey Knight like Falchion Strike guy.
Yeah.
Like, because I know the kill teams get kind of weird with Death Watch, and as weird as it is, it adds a lot of depth. And I think that that would be really interesting for an Inquisition force.
Yeah, man. No, that'd be really cool. Yeah, so that was basically my idea with that. And then, being able to spam assassins, they would be the only faction that could really do that. Being able to dip your toes across Sisters, Death Watch, which basically lets you access the more normal stuff of Space Marines, and then Grey Knights. So it would just be like this mishmash of all these kits, because some of the things that people have a hard time with is marrying to one faction, right? That's why Kill Team's so just fascinating for people, because I can buy one box and be good to go. Well, this army would basically let you take all your random Imperial boxes that you've been buying for Kill Team or whatever, and kind of merge them all into one. It would be dope. So that's kind of my plan with that.
What about like specific Inquisition units? Like, are there any like new units that would be like specific to that army?
Oh, dude, I would hope
you could
so.
think of.
Yeah. So, I think they would really need to play around with making your own Inquisitor, because Inquisitors, like, they're always larger than life. They're always like a James Bond or a James Bond villain that takes the entire movie to die, basically, or, actually fulfill the job. So I'm thinking like Inquisitors that, like, you're essentially almost building a 40k D&D character. And so like they're running around as a toughness 3 single unit, but they're costing like 400 points because of like respawns that they're able to do, or teleports, or like, maybe you tool them up like Marbo from the Imperial Guard Codex, and they're like detonating remote mines on the other side of the friggin' room, and they got melt-a-bombs, and he's able to like fade into the fucking camo and stuff. Or, dude, you know how they have Karazimov, the guy that's like Inquisitor that just like took a Dreadnought chassis and he just like preaches from it?
Oh yeah.
Take that one level up, and you have a Knight Inquisitor. There's just a knight in there, and he's just
we got a Psyker Knight now, so
hell yeah, man.
I don't see why not.
Absolutely. Oh my god, that'd be so freaking cool. But yeah,
you think they would bring back Inquisitor Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau?
Dude, I know. And then Disney would sue him, and that would be crazy as hell, man. That'd be amazing.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I think that would. And like you could borrow all sorts of stuff, right? So it would give people a reason to buy like a random box of Grey Knights, an assassin, a land raider, a knight, and you're telling me that there's an army that I could put them all in? Oh my god! I see that in gossamer teardrops in the sky, and I want it to be a reality so bad. So that's why it's medium spice, because my crazy one is just like it's a cop out and B stupid. So let's go to yours first. What is your wild spicy wish list item?
All right. It's really only wild, I guess, depending on who you ask.
Okay.
But I kind of just want them to ditch command points and stratagems altogether.
Ooh, interesting.
It's too much, man. Like, maybe I'm just dumb, but like when I'm playing this game and have to try to remember not only like the 40 stratagems that I can use, but then also the 40 that my opponent can use.
Yeah.
That's just so much mental load.
Dude, it is. Especially over the time frame that the game takes, and it's like, minute 30 you're like, okay, let me look at my tome of stratagems, and hour 3 you're like, I'm gonna re-roll this die. Like it's just like it peters off really hard. No, I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, and I was playing a game with Votan yesterday, and I have that deck of cards. It's like, here's all your stratagems, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take out only the good ones that I'll probably be able to use, and I still had like 20 cards in my hand.
Oh wow,
it's just so many.
Yeah,
and like the fact that so many of them are super game changing is insane, and then the fact that there's so many that are basically the same thing, just named different across different factions, is super obnoxious.
Yeah, it's weird. I hesitate to remove stratagems as like an entire category, but I think that like that those complexity options, those like limited complexity angles that are introduced into the game make the game really dynamic, right? Because if it just goes like, if you pull stratagems out entirely, it turns closer from like a will they won't they, like deterrence / mind reading operation, to closer to a math problem. And then in all the competitive things, people are just going to math out whatever like the flamers of the month are, right? Because right now we're at the tail end of flamers just destroying everything, and like people are bringing like 18 flamers in the Zinch detachment with rubric marines and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, you do it because they sure didn't mess up when they made that stat line, but
yeah, maybe, but I think there's alternatives too. Like, there's a lot of stratagems that you could just straight up turn into datasheet abilities.
Sure, yeah.
For example, a lot of the or there's a few of the Votan stratagems that are like, searchlight units can do this. Just like put that on the datasheet and like just make that an ability that they can use.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Instead of like me having to remember that I can use this when I'm playing searchlight units. Just like, if I have a searchlight unit, I can see that on their datasheet.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, it's a good point. Something that makes me think that the game is like kind of toying with that direction, or like, find ways where they can offload that complexity into other aspects of the game instead of being this catch-all, right, where it's like every single fucking phase has, like 200 or like 4 or 5 choices to make. Oh, I completely missed to do this. Can I rewind and go back to the end of my movement phase where I gotta do blah 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 thing, right?
Sure.
The cool thing, the Death Strike missile from the Imperial Guard Codex that just dropped, that the way that missile does all of its like super specific weird like token moving versus launching versus acquiring targets and everything, I don't know, like the complexity of that is above and beyond what you usually see in a stratagem, but it's on the data sheet, and it's refreshing. So
yeah. And I think like another alternative is like something that they have already been toying around with, is like all the point upgrades that they're doing in some of these books. For example, I'm going to keep talking about Gene Stealer Colts because I just love that army. They have datasheet abilities that you can just pay 20 points, and if you put this unit in deep strike, then before the game starts, you can basically turn a building into rubble where it doesn't count as cover anymore. Just like point upgrades on data sheets, so I'm not having to keep this deck of cards.
For sure. Yeah, I think they've offloaded a lot of game complexity into the stratagems, and they leaned on it too much. And so, yeah, I think
I
I think
agree.
they need to find avenues to pull that away. I don't think me personally, I'm gonna miss stratagems if they go away. However, I agree. I want that deck of cards to go down to like, you know, a, a dozen would be nice tops. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, what the rumors for World Eaters are saying they're gonna have
yeah,
8 stratagems, and you know what?
that's
I'm
what's up,
totally down for that. I think they're gonna become my favorite army soon because I can just have 8 stratagems and yeet myself up the board and
my
have a good
man. I
time. You know?
love it. Yeah, that's one stratagem per finger, and then you add on reroll and insane bravery, right? It's just like, oh yeah, that's stratagem. That's good.
That implies they're not gonna be leadership 12 across the board or something.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're gonna have regular ass
I
leadership,
mean,
but
Chaos Marines are like leadership 9-10
oh, are they
across the
really?
board.
Oh, dang,
Yeah, so we'll see.
it's weird.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah. No, that's a different podcast. We're gonna get to that one when we get closer to World Eaters. Is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, dude, I'm all about that. Here's my wild my wild one, and I'm revisiting terrain with this because like terrain is just like my albatross, right? Um, I have to admit that once I heard this idea, and I think it came from oh crap, what's his name? Tactical Tortoise guy. He has
Trevi.
yeah. I love his YouTube channel. Shout out to him. He had a really good terrain idea that just won't fucking leave my head, and I think he kind of over massaged it a little bit, but like the bones are there, and basically buildings and the verticality and like how weird that gets with like you know the whole like issue of terrain where like you have
Oh, I think I saw this
yeah,
video.
small
Yeah.
base units that are like walling off, and how that doesn't feel like combat, and that doesn't feel like a good like warfare simulator and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
what I have to completely avoid this building because some guys are standing a little bit behind a wall. Like it's weird, and it's abusing like the limitations of the game. Abusing is just whatever. So what his proposition was, the first floor of ruins and area terrain in general is just like board, right? You treat it like you would anything else. In order to go on the second story and above, you treat them like vehicles. You embark and disembark into them, right? And it confers benefits and it confers detriments in the form of now you're in this giant thing that people are easily able to shoot versus you being like, like a group of Devastator Marines or something, right? You're not able to hide behind a building anymore. You're in the building shooting out the windows and stuff, and you can abstract that by just being
Yeah.
like, you're this big target. Your line of sight comes from any of these windows or this balcony or whatever, and you can position the models that way and do all that fun stuff. Likewise, people are able to shoot you, but your toughness is high. Your toughness is like that of a regular building. And what I was thinking was, so like in the lore, we have dudes who are obsessed with fortifications, and we have dudes that are obsessed with destroying fortifications in the form of Imperial Fists and Iron Warriors, right? So what if there's only so much damage that building can take before the upper floors of it are basically like smoked out or ruined or on fire or whatever, and the unit that's in there dies or has to like bail out like a rhino exploding? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's also I kind of like that too because it's very much like RTS games would do that kind of thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Like I think I don't remember which games in particular. I think maybe even Dawn of War, where you could put dudes inside of buildings. And I think like Company of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
You would basically like select your squad, and then they would go into the building, and that building had a certain number of capacity of dudes that it could hold. But then they would be able to sit inside the building and shoot out, and then whenever the enemy started attacking, they would be attacking the building instead of the dudes inside.
Yeah.
Until the building broke. So it sounds like it's kind of like a similar system to existing RTS games that I think would be super easy to adapt to 40k, and I definitely think would be an overall positive.
Absolutely. And it would like it would simplify like traversing through buildings, like you wouldn't have to worry about fiddly bits. You could like embark and disembark into a building, and just be like, yeah, they covered that ground in the 2 movements that I fucked with that. Or, it clears up so much of the, because what I'm thinking about is like when I play a game, where are the things where like my imagination basically grinds to a halt, or like my tacticality in thinking about the game state grinds to a halt, and I'm dealing with like the realities of these little plastic men that I spent way too long painting, right? Like whatever snaps me out of like the Warhammer flow zone is what I want to kind of like go away. And one of those is dealing with terrain and just like the weird realities of terrain. And so,
Yeah.
you know,
Like the stuff that takes you out of it being a narrative of two armies battling,
yeah,
and then like brings you back to, oh, this is just a board game. Like I for sure agree.
Yeah.
Like I want to see epic fights between two armies and not have to worry about, oh, that guy's like half an inch over, 5 inches vertical. Can I fight him? Can I not? Kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
Like don't make me worry about those kind of things. Just let me roll my dice. Damn it.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. And I think, all right, so like I've played, like I said earlier, like just the smallest crumb of Age of Sigmar games. And I think there's a mechanic in there where you can like fortify into a structure, and beforehand you agree like how many models that structure can hold. Like it can hold 10 models, 20 models. And there's a game that I played with Ryan, who we'll probably have on a podcast here very soon, and you've seen him in the Bat Reps. Or if you haven't seen our Bat Reps yet, go check him out. Where I put like a whole bunch of, or no, he hid in this fortress. Basically, he was able to get like 20 Chaos Warriors in there, and I was playing Nurgle. And so I surrounded it with Nurgle Plague Bearers. And basically it was like a zombie horde survival simulator at that point. Like his boys had added defense, and they were fighting against the Plague Bearers. And I brought in a Beast of Nurgle, and they have a rule in Age of Sigmar. I think it was literally called Pestilent Battering Ram. And it was like, this is the most thematically proper use of this ability. And it was like dealing damage to dudes inside the fortress, but the fortress was like holding up and mitigating a lot of damage. It was cool as hell. It was basically like our game devolved into a zombie RTS survival thing. It was so friggin' cool and emergent, and I love that. And it was because he was able to embark inside the building in like fortress style. So I don't know, maybe that one's not as wild as I ranked it as. I don't know. It might be coming.
I think it's wild in the fact that I don't think GW will do anything like that. Because it's too good of an idea.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
They're almost like Apple, man. Like I want the iPhone to do cooler stuff than it does, but they slow roll the stuff. Like they're not going to bring an upgrade this edition, right? Right. It's not going to USB-C this release. Sure. They got to have you buy the next one, so they'll bring it to the next release, right? So they're sitting on a gold mine of these, and they're going to slow roll them out.
If GW's Apple, then who's Android?
Not
really anybody.
Yeah, dude. It's like, I mean, also GW with Age of Sigmar, I guess. I don't know.
40k is Apple and Age of Sigmar is Android.
Yeah. I mean, hell, kinda. I mean, they're testing out. At least I hope testing out some good ideas in Age of Sigmar that I hope make their way to 40k. Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, I think, and this might be a tip of the hand little preview for what we got planned with some Slam Sector stuff, but I want to start like, and we were talking about this, like dabbling in other game systems like once in a while. It's not going to be like a super regular thing, but we're going to be like, hey, let's take a break, try some Age of Sigmar. Let's take a break, try some Warcry, or Gorka Morka, or just really wild.
I know you guys have been hankering for some kill teams. So.
Oh, dude. Oh my god. Especially since all that like close quarters battle terrain started, and
we got that's coming to 40k too. So
yeah. Oh, dude. I'm so excited.
That'll be interesting. Like, I mean, maybe we'll see when that stuff comes out. Maybe they'll take some of these things we're talking about and implement them into the boarding actions.
Yeah, man. I need to see it. I really hope that Arcs of Omen is a fixed, fixed slash balanced combat patrol, because combat patrol on paper sounds really good, but you almost have to like adopt an honor system and just be like, okay, I shouldn't bring the Custodes.
I'm not gonna bring this one unit that's gonna
Yeah.
just wipe out 500 points.
The Custodes bikes should be nowhere near a game of combat patrol.
Yeah. Which, like, I mean, it sounds like you might not be able to take bikes in boarding actions, so.
Yeah. Oh man.
see.
Or like, if you do, maybe there's damage you take from moving too far, because you're just like barreling that hunk of fucking speeding metal down the corridor and everything.
Yeah.
That'd
And, like,
be cool.
If you take jump pack units, they have a chance of just shooting into the ceiling and exploding.
Not my blood angels, my sanguinary guard. No.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't a targeted statement, I promise.
Hey man, sanguinary guard just want to hang out and slice fuckers up.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay, so to bring it back down to reality, predictions, good or bad, for 10th edition. What you got?
Predictions. I mean, a lot of my predictions are gonna be based off of rumors, I guess, that have been going around.
Sure.
Dark Angels rework, or not rework, but like range refresh.
Mm-hmm.
Drukhari range refresh, Tyranids range refresh, and hopefully Dante.
Dude.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if we get alongside Lionel Johnson, instead of the Blood Angels having a Primarch, they just get like a Primarch sized Sanguinor model.
Dude, that would be absolutely bonkers. They would need to like expand upon Sanguinor lore, I think, because I'm pretty sure he's like really shrouded in mystery, and they haven't really done.
I think they will.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Especially since, you know, again, rumors, the supposed rumors are that at least the launch of 10th edition is going to focus around Blood Angels a little bit more.
Man, I hope. That'd be so
they're
cool.
supposedly going to be the poster boys of the launch box instead of Ultramarines.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
That'd be rad.
I'm all about that. Yeah, if like Sanguinor had a glow up into like an Abaddon sized model, that would just be the coolest shit.
Exactly, for sure.
My prediction is actually something that you've already touched on. I think reactions a la Horus Heresy are gonna be in 10th edition. So
nice.
That's
I sure hope so.
yeah, I know, right? It needs it, because I mean, there's multiple times where it's just like, all right, I'm checking out. I'm gonna check Instagram while you do all that stuff, or you know, like move your guys around or whatever. So it needs more dynamic phases for models to die even faster, so that the game gets in under 3 hours.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. I want all of these things to happen, and you know, I don't want to sound like a doomer, because I do fucking love the game, and I don't think it's in a bad state currently. I know a lot of people will just get online and complain and bitch constantly about, oh man, 40k is in an awful state competitively and casually and blah blah blah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to come off as thinking, like, making people think that I hate this game, because I fucking love it. You know?
Yeah, dude. Oh my god. Like, we are doing this because we love the game, right? And like any critiques that we have are basically in good faith for the betterment of it. I think 40k is a lot better than its previous editions. I have maybe some like vicarious rose-colored glasses for like 2nd edition, or like the wild stuff that whatever the hell was going on with Rogue Trader, but like the stories of it are amazing. But like reading about some of the stuff is just like, it's completely different from what we're doing now. And I think the game is like 97% awesome. And really what we're talking about is that remaining like 5 to 3%. And so it's good to always keep perspective, right? Because at the end of the day, this game is dope as hell. And I can't get enough of it. And anytime I'm critiquing it is in the context of, we're 95% there. What about these like these last finishing touches, which for us, as being enfranchised as we are the things that stand out, versus someone on board, they're just looking around, they're like, you mean a Space Marine has how many extra organs? Like really cool shit like that, you know? Like it's just awesome. It's like, wait, what the hell is a grav gun? You know, like it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, we didn't even talk about like lore predictions and stuff like that.
Oh man,
That's like a whole different beast. But
yeah. I mean, honestly, like I almost don't want to predict the lore too hard. I just want them to take me on the ride. Like whatever it is, just
I feel that.
you know, let me take that journey with you, Games Workshop. I'm all about it. And hey, if you want us to sponsor your content, G-Dub, we'll do Codex reviews. We'll do whatever the hell you want. We'd love that. If anyone over in Nottingham's listening, what's up? We have contact information. Speaking of, let's go ahead and plug the socials we got here. Obviously, if this is your first exposure to Slam Sector, welcome. We also do bat reps. That's kind of our bread and butter. We're going to be hitting the ground running in January when we fire up the bat reps and live games and everything on YouTube. I believe it's youtube.com/slamsector. Is that correct?
I think it's /@Slam Sector because YouTube did some weird stuff with the links.
Oh, bizarre. Okay.
But yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're listening to it here on YouTube, then obviously just click on some of the other videos and tell us what you think. If you're listening to this anywhere else, then click through and we'll make sure that we got that content in there. We're also on Instagram. What's the Instagram handle? Slam Sector, right?
Yeah. So I'll go through social stuff.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
So yeah, Instagram @slam.sector. And Twitter is just @slamsector. And then if you want to hang out, join the discussion on Discord, we've got discord.gg/slamsector.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And, if you really want to take it to the next level, we've even got a little bit of merch involved, including a tactical dice carrier, which is guaranteed to sometimes give you 6s on your rolls. So
yeah, so for that, I'll have links in the description for all this stuff, obviously. But otherwise, we've got slam-sector.creator-spring.com. A lot of dashes,
dude.
But that's where you can pick up some of that stuff.
Absolutely. All right, so make sure you dash over to that store and get some of our merch if you feel it in your blood.
That was good.
Hell yeah, man. They don't pay me for nothing. But yeah, well, hey, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, that is the inaugural episode of Slam Sector. We hope to bring very many more to you, and thanks for listening to the 5x5 podcast.